Hello and welcome to another Best Junglers episode, this one for patch 14.13, as the season becomes a little bit more stable and we understand what we are required to do in the meta. Yes, AP junglers are strong, but do not let that fool you. The entire reason that they're strong is because they got Faded Ashes, a lot of experience, and they can farm a lot quicker. Also helps when you've got good damage itemization. That being said, we have a lot of good assassins, fighters, marksmen, and a huge variety of classes and types of junglers that are absolutely viable and dominant for you to carry to your solo queue dreams. As always, we will go over the best junglers overall and for low as well as high MMR. However, if you are not climbing as fast as possible and you think you deserve a higher rank, let me give you a helping hand. You must head to Virkayu.gg. Not only do I have a free jungle improvement resource, I also have a dedicated program with jungle video courses, jungle coaching classes, a jungle VOD library, special weekly content you'll see nowhere else. All of this available through a premium jungle Discord, which is highly active, a huge community that help each other climb using my jungle program and courses. As we have seen by everybody hitting their peak rank goals in Split 1 and Split 2 of Season 14 as fast as possible. So to climb faster than everybody you know and to jungle diff every game you play, head to Virkayu.gg or click the link in the description below. Well, first up now we have to put the Lilia, because they're kind of heavy-handed dealing with certain champions. You know, Talia just got absolutely battered out of the game. Her farming tempo will be way lower than everybody else's in a meta where we need to be quite diligent in terms of our ganking and our farming balance. Lilia solves that problem by farming faster than almost anybody once she gets going. Little slow on the first clear for sure, but she provides ridiculous amounts of damage, kiting, healing, CC spells, and what I can only describe is an itch, much like a rash on your side of perhaps your entire body, because that's what it feels like to play against this champion right now. And Riot actually agrees for once, and they're going to be heavy nerfing her in the next patch. So the next Best Junglers episode will not have Talia, it will not have Lilia. But for now, for the next 3 weeks, you got a champion that is going to sequence, control grubs, control rivers, control fights, can invade and counter jungle you, can just simply counter gank you, can out farm you. What the hell do you do against this champion other than press the ban button? Well, you can play a direct counter. If your champion does that, you can feel happy about this. However, I think in most cases, it's safer to ban than to deal with this, because you make one mistake, she will be up a level. You make two mistakes, she'll be up 2 levels, and even when she's behind, she will provide utility and comeback ability through percentage HP, through dot damage, and of course through healing. The champion is simply the absolute full package on this patch. And next up, talking about full packages, and no, that wasn't a pun, but you can make it a pun because he's definitely overcompensating. Virkayu, he is good at everything as well. Not as fast farming, obviously, and yes, you can be a little bit behind, but I have had a lot of players that I'm coaching in the private Discord for memberships as well as one-on-one, showing them, listen here guys, if you don't get going early with your PvP or you're a little bit lacking in terms of ganking options, you can still macro later, you can still get a reset later. Most Virkayus try too hard in the early game versus letting the early game come to them. Yeah, we want to have a couple ganks pre-14, right? We want to have some KDAs, we want grubs, we want maybe a dragon. But amazing, because of his E ability to move around the map quite quickly, he's often in a position not only to counter gank, but also to counter jungle. And if that's the best play, make it. Don't force fights unnecessarily. Use your damage to hit turrets and simply wait for your moment to get that double, triple, quadra kill, maybe even a pentakill if you're particularly juiced, and you will have a lot more fun on the champion. Do not force things with him. He's good at everything. He's got great itemization. Keep it simple. Kraken, Sundered Sky, Kraken, Trinity Force, and Sterags. Do not overcomplicate your lives. Be a balanced jungler. Speaking about balance, let's talk about the imbalanced. If you have good hands, good mechanics, and good understanding of jungle pathing, Nidalee is absolutely and utterly cracked. No, she's not one of these, I need to put Blackfire Torch on AFK farm. She's a pressure jungler. She's the one that loves it when junglers are AFK farming and trackable so she can collapse on you and kill you, using obviously her animation cancelling, range advantage, execute, and so on. And here's the thing about junglers like Nidalee. There's not really a lot of them, but you know, Nidalee and Graves kind of things. Hey, you're farming? Well, what if I just invaded you and took away your stuff and pushed you out of your jungle because I got lane prio? Or hey, look, you're a ganking jungler, ganking bottom lane. Why don't I take all your camps and have a 2-level lead as I secure grubs and split push top lane while you're ganking bottom lane? They always have a way to maximize their own jungle power, and you as a jungler against them, especially a good player, have to be amazing at tracking and controlling your camps. Do not play into their hands and do not let them get these advantages, because if you do, they will become insanely oppressive. And Nidalee is doing exactly that right now, and so is Kha'Zix. Although Kha'Zix is one of these choose your own adventure champions, right? Yes, you got different rune choices, you got different build options. We've covered doing Ghostblade into Profane to maximize mid-game farming. We've covered going Profane first to maximize early level 6 spiking and obviously getting to the mid-game stronger. We've covered going Ghostblade into Opportunity into Cerulda's Grudge just to, you know, maximize damage in PvP gaming. Really, it's about how you want to play the champion. I do not recommend the Gurren Conqueror rune sets and playstyle. That's really just for him. Most of you do not need that to climb to your chosen goal. You need a nice, good output of damage to take care of priority targets. You need to make sure you are farming at least fast enough with your Q evolve, taking some objectives, and then you need to understand, hey, enemy jungler, when I have lead, you no longer exist. And I just covered a Hecarim gameplay on the gameplay channel where Gurren was 2 levels up on a Hecarim. Guess what? By the end of the game, he was 3 levels down. This is because sometimes Kha'Zix players, yes, all of them, try to bite off a bit more than they can chew, and yes, you can be squished and crossed out like a bug. But you know, 9 times out of 10, that just won't happen, and the Kha'Zix will understand which playstyle he's going for and which one he needs to climb to his next chosen rank. Much like Bel'Veth, who, I'm sorry to all the mains that I know, even though I hate your champion, I respect it when you play this champion well. It is a very fun champ to watch when someone understands, hey, let me not coin flip level 2 psychopathically invade, let me just be a good jungler with good pathing and watch me go fast level 6, watch me go true form into your face. Oh look, I'm needed to fight with my team and get a pentacle reset, let me do it. Oh no, my team sucks ass, why don't I just, split push and end anyway? She provides all of the outlets strategically for you to win. If you do want to invade early, you can. If you need to farm and stack lavender and get spikes later, you can. If you need to split push and ditch your team, you can. Keep it simple with your Kraken into Stridebreaker and just enjoy the free LP if you execute properly. People have forgotten a little bit about her. Her win rate is very good. Another champion that I love is Nocturne, the Darkness Bringer, the Umbral Trespasser. The champ that everybody's written off because they changed his tether range interaction and they removed lethal tempo. I mean, who cares? Just go Ultimate Hunter, get yourself a Conqueror, build Stridebreaker, build Hexblade, build Sterak's and Black Cleaver, and kill people. You don't really need to worry too much about anything else. It's a fast farming level 6 meta, you can still duel pretty damn well, you just can't run at people early and get away with it with lethal tempo. But the champion's archetype and spike moments are just as good as ever. The itemization means you stay alive. And guess what? You're really damn good into squishies who have no mobility, and if you're building something with tenacity and use your W spell share correctly, your DPS is still something they cannot handle provided you hit that Tether Fear and hit them with the Dustbringer Q. The win rate is good, the champion is good, he's unsexy, but he will bring you LP. Which do you want? Next up, we have Diana, also one that we could claim is a little bit not as exciting kit-wise, but she is one of those, hey, I'm just gonna farm until 6, get grubs, and off I go. Yes, it's not beautiful, it's not highly interactive, but she will outstat check everybody later on when she gets a lead. She knows how to just take care of Zyras and Brands and any immobile mage because burst combo insane. And again provides the opportunity of, look, I've got a Yasuo and a Yone, let's go team fighting, brothers. Or hey, you all suck and you're feeding, let me just go split push and draw 2 focus points, and then I'll just, kill them and keep going. What you like in this meta for a jungler is having this versatility of playstyle. Even if it isn't as exciting early, as long as you keep experience gains going and mix in a few ganks and play around your ultimate, Nocturne Diana, play around your ultimate, you will get fed or be in a position to control the tempo in the mid and the late, and that's when you actually win. Here we have Psychotic Shaco on the final S tier page, and even though he's not, quote unquote, the S tier jungler that we all know and see all the time, I love the champion at the moment with the hybrid versatility of build itemization. You got an amazing assassination AD focus build, and you've got the more farming double stack burn Leandry's Blackfire Torch build. Pick your poison, both are really damn good, and I prefer the AD focus build because when champions are trying to set up their experience sequencing, that's when you can mess it up. But because you can also go into profane builds and other builds that allow you to farm quickly, in the mid and the late game, now you've got this catch-up sequencing that you can do, much like, say, a Hecarim who's behind would do. And then again, your teamfighting becomes astronomically good because most ADCs, specifically these fed mid lane ADCs and bottom lane ADCs, are gonna split push beyond the vision line, and that's your music. And of course, you can also split push as well. Well, onto the A tier page. Graves is back, and honestly, I thought he was fine before. I feel like he's got a bit of an itemization dead point. Again, not super exciting. You've got the Ghostblade and the Collector, whoop-de-doo. But those B of Sword builds are things he really loves to snowball on. The problem is, in a meta with this kind of counter jungling and farming pressure, you'd think he's doing way better. Riot agreed and thus gave him significantly more armor on his True Grit. So if you happen to play one of these Viego, Kha'Zix style, Bel'Veth style champions, he will be a lot more tanky for you as the game goes on. It also allows him just a bit of survivability to get his hand in the cookie jar and take some camps if he gets caught out. You know he's got that mobility. We know what Graves can do in this kind of meta when we have a bit of lane prior and experience. Counter jungling is huge and counter ganking is huge. Canyon has done that in 2020, 2021, dominating the entire world. While I don't necessarily think he's going to return to the S tier status just yet, I love where he is at the moment, and I think a skillful Graves is a skillful jungler, much like his skillful Lee Sin makes his champion look a lot better than he is. The buffs here added shield, we enjoy that. Definitely a more higher skill capped focused buff there, not giving him raw stats, just giving him a bit more utility on the Iron Will and the Safeguard. But the health growth also goes up by 3, not huge, but enough. Here's the thing though, I spoke to my high elo Lee Sin Connect and he thinks the champion's in a great spot. He's not OP, but he's definitely really strong if you can execute correctly, and most people are not. And then I look at the win rate data, stop going Black Cleaver third blindly. The Sterak's has a 5% higher win rate, and when you slap in 3 items of Eclipse, Sundered Sky, Sterak's, in Eclipse, Sundered Sky, Black Cleaver, the Sterak's version has a 7% higher 3-item win rate. That is absolutely insane. It also synergizes more so with the shield buff, the HP growth, the survivability of his snowball. Use that, have better success, the champ is fine. As soon as they put 14.10 out and they had the experience buffs in the jungle, I put Xin Zhao on the list and it was like, whoa, isn't it farming meta? He's a ganker. He's been good ever since. I put him on there initially because I know when you've got guaranteed ganks, because your kit makes it so simple it's impossible to ruin it, and that allows you, of course, to get in people's faces, the fallback of losing camps to counter jungling is not going to happen, because a lot of ganking junglers mess up their ganks, they get counter jungled, they're behind. Xin Zhao does not mess up his ganks, he gets fed from it, translates that pressure into your face. He's really good at that, you're seeing him in pro play as well. Champion is based and successful. And don't listen to LOL esports weird tweets. If you're in a mobile mage, you get to Xin Zhao, the Xin Zhao with hands will destroy you. All he has to do is hold himself a little bit accountable for your CC, but trust me, you will die if he wants you to. Amazingly, Kindred is a little bit under the radar. I couldn't really explain why. And then I look at the data and I'm like, no, I still can't explain why. People get a little bit caught up sometimes and great champions go down the list because of just people being a little bit bored of seeing them. However, all I will say on this champion, as I do love them as an archetype, essentially play the way you've always played. It has a lot more strength now. Get your marks, understand jungle flow, and the itemization for crit is absolutely fantastic. Just reminds me of, Season 8, where we had this great warrior crit PD, IE build, and you'd assassinate people. Hey, you can do that now as well. Zac just had his mid and top and lane in general support nerfed with the healing, and while that does help us a little bit in the jungle, his thing there is a bit more, I do heal enough when I'm needed to heal, but I do a hell of a lot of damage. Also because most good Zacs understand that 7 CS per minute is really the minimum you want on this champion. He's not a gankathon. He's a higher econ tank that then provides obscene healing disruption and utility for his team later on. If you're behind, you will still be okay. But the idea is, my friends, to be ahead and to be a rich green goo blob. And I'm talking a lot about the sequencing and the experience, and that's where Udyr comes in. He lacks a little bit of that ganking pressure we want pre-14, but he makes up for it by having ridiculous amounts of itemization scaling. Get yourself your Leandries and then build into your tank items of choice and feel really what's going to stop you provided you didn't totally end your early game with shitty sequencing, with shitty rotations. 80% rule, if it's not 80% probability you get something from a situation, you're simply not going to rotate to it. Focus on the investment, focus on the time, and you will know when it's time to spike. In terms of spiking, Brand just had a nerf, of course, helping him be removed a little bit from mid lane. The Dark Harvest changes that we haven't really spoken about because they don't affect too many people on this list. I mean, they do kind of, but essentially what we're looking at is once you get your 19th Dark Harvest stack, you're starting to run away absolutely with the damage compared to old Dark Harvest. So that's your break-even point that you need to know. Before that, you're going to have a lot more weakness. However, Brand, because he stacks it so easily, is getting to these higher thresholds better than a lot of junglers and champions, and thus is able to do a lot more damage. And as such, despite the nerfs, because of the Dark Harvest change, his win rate in the jungle went up. And much the same for things like Nidalee, who can actually use this break-even point to scale way harder later because they're strong enough early. In Brand's case, brainless enough early so he scales automatically. Essentially, Electrocute is stronger earlier and it doesn't fall off that much late compared to old. Dark Harvest is definitely a lot weaker for base values, but if you're able to stack it easily, you will notice a lot more power later on in the game. It will supplant Electrocute as well at 19 stacks. And then on that note, we have Fiddlesticks, who is rising up once more people understanding, look, if I just path correctly, I get the right team fight, I take the right runes. Electrocute is classically not what we want to go, but the new Electrocute allows you to show up some weakness early and of course take over games a lot more quickly. Also, guaranteed a one-shot on someone later on. Same reason I like that rune for everybody. Dark Harvest is okay, it's still solid, but First Strike will be your best de facto rune using Hex Flash and things like this. Overall, Champion is really solid, will provide you an outlet for your sequencing and teamfight goodness. Onto the low MMR page, and obviously Nocturne and Lilia will dominate. Amumu is a classic solid choice here for you. Briar, Viego, Warwick, Ramus, and Volibaba are all doing good things in this lower MMR range. Yes, you can still use all the classical low elo champions, you can use the Brand, But here I really noticed a shift in the Warwick win rate to get to gold. I noticed a shift in the Volibear win rate to get to gold. Volibear is obviously enjoying the Rod of Ages Navuri tech, which, typically it's not something I've really gone for, but I tried it out myself and I had a little bit of fun. Champion still has a lot of shortcomings in general, but for low elo, you're not going to notice those and you can really take over games. Warwick, focus on your rotations. And of course, if you are in low elo, seeing Marsty, Nocturne, Briar, Warwick, even Viego, just go ahead and pick yourself up a Ramus, absolute classic. I know it's not fun, but what do you want here? Do you want to get to gold quicker and then focus on actually mastering jungle and picking champions you really want to play? Or do you want to go slower and potentially play things you still didn't really want to play in the first place? Make your choice, but these ones will get you to gold quickly. Following this, we're going to the high MMR page. As we mentioned, Nidalee, really strong. Talia, wow, that clear nerf was substantial. You're seeing even in high MMR, when we go down a couple percent, she's still playable, but you have to really go and earn your keep on this map in this experience range. You don't have the fallback of farming and quick sequencing, much like the original Talia jungle in 2018. We also have the Graves, we have the Lilia, Viego, Brand, Kha'Zix, Kindred, and yeah, I'm bringing back the Lee Sin. I thought deeply about this. Bel'Veth is doing well, Hecarim is solid. We're seeing my champion in the Zyra, but honestly, again, better to play Brand 100%, and most people can counter the Zyra easily, they just seemingly don't, and even in high elo. Rengar's doing solidly, we have Rek'Sai still quite potent here, but the thing is, Lee Sin is just so heavily played, so heavily focused on. I truly think that if people nail down the itemization, stop flexing a little bit too much, and play a bit more into the survivability of this champion and maximizing those particular 1 item, 2 item, 3 item spikes, and not getting stuck in an AFK farming scenario, going lethality and being killed by the Brands of the world, you will have an absolute lot of fun in high MMR. And don't forget, for a high quality infographic plus a clash section, subscribe to Virkayu.gg for that free juicy information. But have you ever thought that you need specific coaching on your rank in order to actually climb? Well, good thing I did. Go ahead, watch this video. Learn, climb, win.